Good morning, everybody. I just told my guests that this coffee is extremely hot, and it is. I cut the roof of my mouth last night when my wife and I were eating tacos and margaritas, but you didn't hear me. You guys aren't here today to listen to me talk about tacos and margaritas. Maybe you are. I don't know. Anyways, good morning. It is a snowy motherfucker here in Pennsylvania. I know I'm not supposed to swear in the first minute, but here we are. We're going to be talking about heavy metal today with a guest that was on a while back, and I really enjoyed the conversation. And he does a lot to help out this show, and of course, I really appreciate that as well. So, make sure you hit all the links below to figure out what I got going on. Go to Tiger Fitness for your supplements, LMNT for your electrolytes, which I currently have the chocolate electrolytes with a little sugar-free hazelnut creamer in my coffee, which is Fox and Sons coffee, of course. We'll be talking about that a little bit too, as well, I'm sure. So yeah, hit all that stuff below. If you go to Fox and Sons Coffee, which you absolutely should, make sure you use code Kyle at checkout for a little bit of a discount. Let Steve know I sent you. And I guess with that, let's rock and roll. What is up, everybody? My name is Kyle Matovic. I am the host of the In Liberty and Health podcast, where we talk all things liberty, health, and wellness, and beyond. My hope is to encourage and spread the message of liberty and physical and mental well-being. I hope you enjoy all the topics we talk about with our guests. We're on all major streaming platforms, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Man, I'm doing as good as anyone can do getting buried by his 13-year-old son on leg day.
I'm not going to apologize for not being on this podcast because I got to go see Metallica. So if that's a problem, kiss my ass.
Okay?
All right.
One more time. Good morning, everybody. Steve, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
No, nothing. My understanding is you had a little bit rougher of a morning than I did. I went for a 520-pound. No, was it 525? 525 on my
You
deadlift,
got
and
me.
it didn't quite come up. I got 515 off the ground, but 525 is just a little bit too much for me. But it seems like your morning up in Michigan's going a little bit worse.
Oh, it's so cold here. It's 13. I think it's like 8 or 8 or 5 or something like that with the wind chill, and we got about a foot of snow in the last day or day and a half ish.
Mhm.
So everything, literally everything's shut down in West Michigan right now.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going on.
I would have imagined the folk of Michigan probably wouldn't shut down their Sunday morning church over a little bit of white stuff, but I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, you can't see. Like, I drove up this morning up to our church just to check on everything, and it was like I couldn't see more than a quarter block. Like, it was bad. It was bad. It was just couldn't see that far, and the roads were okay. Like, nothing. I've driven on worse, but
Sure.
it was pretty bad. So
Yeah, so did they do you live near a lake in Michigan? I can't remember.
yeah, I'm like right.
Oh.
I'm probably 20 minutes from Lake Michigan. We get hit
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot worse because we're in that snow belt. So
Mm.
I've driven. Sometimes it's funny because I've driven like 5 minutes away from our house, and it's been like bright and sunny and gorgeous, and then like by our house, it's like dark and snowy for like 3 weeks or a month. It's like living in a snow globe.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you don't get like the shaking up part of the snow globe, if you
Yeah.
catch my drift.
Sometimes.
That's more out west. Oh, really?
Ugh, it's bad. Yeah, we used to live closer to the lake,
Mhm.
and there was a week we got. I want to say it was like 6 to 8 feet, and like nothing ever made the news, just because it's normal out here.
Holy
Like
shit.
New York gets like a foot, and everybody freaks out and they die.
Yeah.
But like and we
They're
got
from
because it
New
was like
York.
2
It's
feet
fine.
on Monday, it was a couple feet Wednesday, and a couple feet on
Mhm.
or like another foot or so on Friday. But again, you drove 20 minutes east of us and
Mhm.
a couple inches. It was crazy.
Holy crap. Well, I mean, the only thing
Yeah.
I could think of in comparison to that, I mean, I live by like the Kiskiminitis River, but it's not very wide. Like it's
Mhm.
probably about as wide as like a 4-lane highway, so it's not really
Okay.
that like
Yeah.
wide. But when I lived in Cleveland, I lived near Lake Erie, probably like 20 miles away. But like the closer you would get, the worse and worse it would get.
Mhm.
One thing that kind of you saying that like the difference between where you are and even just going like 15, 20 minutes away is like when I leave my house, I live in a small town called Vandergrift. and then I work in a city called Greensburg. And it's about a 45 minute drive for me to get to work. And the difference, sometimes there will be no snow
Yeah.
here at my house, but then I'll get out there and the cars will be covered in snow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's like in Detroit where I grew up, we would get snow once in a while, but not
Sure.
massive amounts like here. The first couple years was really hard to get used to living out in
Hmm.
West Michigan. So,
Oh, yeah.
but
I mean, I always say that, like, if I could, or a lot of our mutual friends would probably tell us, "Oh, just move to New Hampshire, right? Move to New Hampshire. It's the freest state in the entire country." I'm like, listen, if I'm fucking moving,
also the
I'm
coldest state.
yeah, dude, if I'm moving, I am never ever picking up a fucking snow shovel again. Because like
Yeah.
Pennsylvania is dirt cheap to live in. If I'm making the fucking move, it's no snow, no fucking snow.
Yeah. We're definitely on the trajectory to move like either southwest or just south of us. Like Alabama sounds pretty good right about now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every single time I
Go hang out with
like,
Pete.
yeah, hell yeah, nice. Yeah, every single time the temperature drops below like 30 degrees, I'm like, how this flights to Florida looking right now?
Yeah.
Because like sometimes you could get a flight to Florida from Pittsburgh for like 50, $60 per
Hmm.
person. So I'm
Yeah.
like, like,
Tony, Daytona is really nice this time of year.
oh my God. Yeah. I mean, my wife and I, when I want to say it was 2021 and 2022, we went to Florida probably like 7 or 8 times in that like
Okay.
year and a half. Oh, it was fantastic. But now her work schedule, because she's an EMT, she works on Sundays. So like today, I do these Sunday morning podcasts because she works a 24-hour shift, so she works 8 in the morning on Sunday till 8 in the morning on Monday.
Oh,
So
that's
this is kind of
brutal.
like, yeah, this is kind of like my day to just enjoy my time by myself.
Yeah.
And, obviously it's not like I, wouldn't want to spend time with my wife if she was home, but
No,
like,
yeah.
I get to do all the shit I want to do around the house. I get to relax. I get to hang with the dogs, play games, do shit around the house. Like today, my project's going to be cleaning black mold in the basement because we had like some containers and shit. And, every single basement you're ever going to have, especially if you live up like where we live,
Hmm.
you're never going to get all the water out of it. There's going to be some
No.
moisture in there no matter what.
Yeah.
So we had some containers in the basement, and I guess a little bit of water got underneath them, and we didn't move them for a long time. So when we finally moved them, like, oh, we disturbed the slumber of all the mold. Now the whole fucking basement stinks. So I got my N95 mask, white vinegar, baking soda, all this shit ready to go, and I'm gonna go kind of go for bears a little bit later
Yeah.
on today.
Get some
Yeah,
bleach out. Fun.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be
Oh, that's how
it'll
it
be a
is
good
out here
time.
too. It's you get the same thing out here. So
Yeah, and well, kind of back to an earlier point. Yeah, dude, if I could never have to deal with snow again, my life would be so good. We were looking at houses down in Florida, and it's like triple the price, and right now triple the interest rate
well,
for
the
like a third of
insurance
the
too. The
property.
insurance is
Mm.
almost. My sister. Well, the reason we go down to the Daytona area is my sister has a condo down there. We go use
Oh,
that condo once
yeah.
every other year ish. Um, so, but her insurance on the place went up like 10 or like 6 times. I think she said
Hmm.
it's insane what their insurance is.
Ugh.
So it's and everybody down there is dealing with that. So
Hmm.
thanks to some those peaceful riots in 2020, everything
The
all of our
mostly
house
peaceful
insurance went up.
protests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I didn't think Florida got hit that hard by the mostly peaceful protests, but
No,
I know.
it's with Florida. It's a lot more of the insurance fraud and
Mhm.
insurance scams. Like you get one shingle off your roof, and they're claiming like they need a whole new roof. So
Uh,
it's a lot of
uh,
that stuff too.
yeah, well, like, so when my wife and I got married in November 2022, we rented out an Airbnb, and I mean, it was beautiful. I want to say there were 2 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, and it had like a pool out back, and then literally like a little
Nice.
dock that you could go out. I want to say it was like 13 or $1,400 for like 2 or 3 days. It was gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but like, it
Yeah,
was a lot of fucking money.
yeah, yeah. It's not
why are
cheap,
you up
man.
so yeah, why are you up so early? And you have the bean slinger on too from Jay Forte. I know you was it you do the morning after with him and
Yeah,
Justin, huh?
yeah. Jay's on
Yeah.
there. We're on there once in a while. Friday didn't go as planned. Nobody showed up, so I ended the stream way early. They
Ah,
left
yeah, I
me
got
hanging,
you.
man. Like I said, I'm not a solo artist when we did that one. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that I have a showing sometimes when I do my solo podcast, but usually I'm like ready to go for all sorts of just bullshit and people listen to me ramble on for about an hour. That's kind of what my 2023 year end stream was.
yeah,
And listen, I am up on Sundays especially because like 4:30 in the morning on Sunday, right? Get up, go downstairs, make breakfast, go to the gym, and like that's my me time. I spend usually about like 2.5 hours in the gym on Sunday morning, and then usually come home, get my wife's car running, and clean all that shit off so that we can go to work. And then like the rest of the day is just like my kumbaya day, unless my wife is home, which she is every other week. But like Sundays are just my fucking days, man. I love Sundays. And like Mondays when I'm off, really, really happy too. So like this
mhm.
is just like what I love to do is just to be right here in front of this screen.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
No,
that's
Sundays are
just
nice, man. Usually I'm up pretty early. I go open up the church and get everything ready
mm.
for our church service. And
No, I
but
mean that's
man,
gotta
we
be really, really
canceled
nice
today.
and yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice,
So
man. It's nice to be able to get up and have a place to myself for a little bit, and I
mhm.
enjoy that.
Yeah, it was
We kind
funny.
of cooped up in the house. Sorry, we kind of
Oh
cooped
yeah,
up
no,
in the
no,
house
yeah,
yesterday and today. We purposely didn't go anywhere yesterday, and
yeah.
so I'm like kind of getting a little antsy right now. I want to go out and do
Mhm.
something, but I don't want to go outside. So
Oh no, no, dude, I completely get that. My friend Ryan Stone, who's probably one of my favorite personalities on Twitter, was talking about some guys doing like polyamory or something like that. He's like, listen, that time in the morning from 6 till noon is like my me time. He's like, I couldn't imagine having another woman to worry about, so like I'm good with this. And I'm like the same exact way. I'm like, listen, I already got one in the other room, and like, look, I love my wife dearly, but like I know how other women can be. What one is
no,
good enough
man,
for me.
that'd be torture. That'd be absolute torture.
Like, could you
I'm
imagine
good.
have to deal with another fucking woman 24/7? Come on,
Ugh,
one's enough.
my head would hurt.
Yeah. Well, you got how many kids do you have? I know you have a
Two
son.
boys.
Two.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have two
Yeah.
boys. Yep.
Yeah. I,
Yeah,
I I feel
18 and
like
16.
mhm. Okay, so they're probably still in the midst of being rebellious assholes, or
No, they're
Okay,
actually
good.
they're really good kids. They're
Oh,
actually
awesome.
really good kids. Yeah, I don't have
Mhm,
any. We don't have any issues with them. Like they're
mhm.
not out partying and doing stupid stuff. I mean, they're
Mhm.
dumbasses sometimes, but they're not doing stupid stuff.
I mean,
So
that's part of being a teenager.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I told my younger one this morning, or my older one, I'm like, get dressed and get outside and let's start clearing stuff off.
Mhm.
And like 20 minutes, about a half hour later, he comes out. I'm like, better get shoveling, man. He's wearing shorts. I'm like, I told you. He's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, do you not see all the white stuff literally everywhere? What do you mean? What do I want you to do? Like,
Mhm.
it's just yeah. So that's what I deal with mainly is just kind of dumbassery once in a while. But they're actually really really good kids. I'm
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
very
I know
fortunate. My
my
wife did a good
brother.
job raising them.
Nice, nice, yeah. My wife and I are. I think we're gonna have girls. I don't want it to be girls. I'd rather have one boy, one girl. But something's telling me. I'm like, I think I'm probably gonna like our second kid is probably gonna be a girl. I'm gonna hope it's gonna be a boy, but I feel like I'm gonna get cursed with two girls. My dad has five, two girls and three boys, and right now my wife and I are the only two of like my whole family tree that are like planning to have kids and want to have kids. My older
Yeah,
brother, him and his wife or girlfriend don't want to have any, and then like my stepbrothers, they're indifferent, and my younger siblings are I don't know, they're it's very weird because there's three different moms in the situation with my dad, but like my younger siblings are a little bit more, I don't want to say pampered, but they didn't, I don't think they're progressive, but I think they're just more like never really had to struggle. Like me and my brother, I don't want to say had it rough, but like, we're both kind of blue collar dudes and we're
mhm,
both very, very libertarian. Both of them are going to college and stuff and have like all these other plans. So,
yeah,
we're in like a completely different worlds there.
yeah. I don't. yeah, we're just like, I don't know. My sister, I have one sister, and we're very, very night and day different. Like, we're both
Mhm,
pretty conservative ish.
mhm.
I mean, I'm way more than she is. Like,
Sure.
I think she's too liberal on some stuff,
Mhm,
but we're just night and day different.
mhm.
So, like,
Well,
we couldn't be any more different.
yeah, so when it comes to your kids, I know you take them sometimes to concerts with you. I
Yeah,
think the one picture I saw of you, it was you and I don't know which kid, but I know
Zachary. Yeah, that was
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah, you guys went to go see Demon Hunter together, I think it
Yeah,
was.
that was a great show.
Nice. So I've never
Yeah,
seen Demon Hunter live. How were they?
they are one of the best bands I've ever seen live. Like,
Nice.
they're
Oh, cool.
so solid. Like,
Mhm.
just beyond solid. They were. I saw them 20 years ago when they come out with their first album.
Oh, I
Uh,
love that album too.
yeah, such a great. It's so raw.
Yeah.
I saw them at that first time out, and
Mhm,
they were just absolutely amazing. I've seen them 2, 3 other times.
mhm,
Um, so 4 altogether, and every time has been just phenomenal. Like, they put
mhm.
on such a good show. They play forever. Um, just super respectful and thankful for their crowds. Like, they're never just jerks on stage. They're just always
Oh,
so amazing on stage.
yeah.
And afterwards, I've talked to them a couple times. They're just
Mhm.
super cool, down to earth people. Funny thing is, they hate touring. Like, they don't like touring at all
Mhm,
because it's time away from the families and stuff, and they all live apart now. They don't live in
yeah.
the same area anymore.
And so it's a pain
Um,
in the ass for them to get together.
yeah, it's really hard for them to tour.
They're like a Christian band that's not
Yeah,
explicitly Christian, and you know what's funny is that, like, as much as I may complain about religious people being a little too zealous sometimes, it's funny how much I absolutely fucking love Christian metal. Like, War of Ages, For Today, Demon Hunter, like,
yeah,
they are love those fucking they're so fucking good. And,
yeah.
like, War of
They're
Ages a little bit earlier on was, like, a lot more Christian, like, their music their lyrics were a lot more, like,
yeah,
Christian focused, like, they would have Bible verses on I think it was their 3rd album, I can't remember what it's called, but it was 2005 with, All Consuming Fire, but,
okay.
like, they literally had Bible verses some of the songs, and I'm like, "This stuff is just so fucking good," and then For
You ever
Today, they would
listen
literally do,
to
like, sermons.
Wolves of the Gate?
Oh, love them, they're so fucking good.
They're
Yeah.
great. I like and August Burns Red comes out of that
Mhm.
as well.
So,
August
like,
Burns
August
Red is
Burns
the
yeah,
one
go ahead.
band I love
Mhm.
musically. I hate their vocals. Like, I can't listen to them
Mm,
because of their vocals. But their
sure.
Christmas album is one of the best Christmas albums ever made.
Yeah,
So
you know what's funny is I think I've seen that stuff a lot. So like I've never really listened to August Burns Red. I feel like I would really like them, but I just never went out of my way to check them out. And that's like,
phenomenal
uh, th-
guitar.
yeah, there's so many bands that are kind of like that for me. And then I check them out. I'm like, why did I not like listen to these guys? It was
Yeah,
like Mastodon and Gojira were like the same way for me. And I checked them out. I'm like, oh, these guys are like fucking amazing. And then
yeah,
like they never leave the playlist.
yeah. It's like there's so many bands out there. It's hard to
And
pick certain
it's
stuff.
hard to get all of it. Yeah, Xmas music sucks no matter who does it. I,
No, you got to listen to that. You have to listen to that album.
mm,
Just Google it. It's August Burns Red. That's their Christmas
mm,
album. It's the guitar in it is absolutely phenomenal. It's just
mhm.
fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I know Zach Wild did, I think he had an EP where he did some Christmas songs, but I think they were mostly instrumental, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, like, kinda like that early 2000s to, like, I wanna say 2012-ish metalcore is probably, like, some of my favorite music. So, like, they called it like the new wave of American heavy metal. So you had like your first wave, kind of like Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage, Trivium, Shadows Fall. I don't know if I said All That Remains, but like all those kind of bands, God forbid, would be like your first wave. And they came out like 98 and they peaked, I want to say probably around like 2005. And then you had more like some of the bands that we're talking about now, War of Ages,
mhm.
um, August Burns Red, Motionless in White, they were a little bit later, but like some of those bands kind of like that. Veil of Maya, bands like that were kind of like the second wave from like 2005 to 2012, and like still all these bands are still relevant today, but like the height, I feel like for them, like the height of their hype and like where I think they were the best is probably like that 2000 to 2010 area, because like now there's no bands out there who are doing the same kind of thing as raw as they were from like that
Mhm.
specific 10-year time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. I was never really into that, like the metal core stuff. Like the.
Sure.
I mean, it's a lot of it's the vocals for me. Musically, it's great. It's just the vocals
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
can't. I can't do. Like Demon Hunter is probably the deepest vocals I can go. Living
Sure.
Sacrifice is pretty heavy stuff too. They're
Mhm.
they're another Christian band that was. They came out early mid '80s, maybe early
Mhm.
'90s when they came out, and they were like really super raw. And then their one
Sure.
singer left, and they got another. Their one of the guitar players took over singing, and
Mhm.
it just completely changed vocally. Um,
Mm.
so, but yeah, I just some of that stuff, and plus, right now, it, I'm in a weird spot. I've been listening to a lot of like '80s, '90s metal, like Iron Maiden.
Mm.
I
That's
discovered
right.
a Black Sabbath album that was I've never heard before that I think
Was
is
it
one of
a
their best albums.
Tony Martin? I think it was. He was their singer in the '90s, right?
Let me see. I have it right here.
Mhm.
It's a dude from Deep Purple. I can't remember his name. I don't
I
have it
swear there
here.
was
Glenn something.
singer for Sabbath in the '90s. I swear that was Tony Martin.
Seventh
Uh,
Star is the name of the album that I was talking about. That is just
Seven
it's
Star.
bluesy. It's weird. It doesn't sound
Mhm.
like Sabbath at all.
Yeah, Tony, heavy metal vocalist, Tony Martin, and that was 1987 to 1990. Dio rejoins for Dehumanizer. That was 90 to 92.
This album
Martin
came out in
rejoins.
'86.
Oh, 86. I gotcha.
It
So
was
that would have
before
been.
I think it was the guy from Deep Purple.
Oh,
I can't remember his name.
Hughes.
Glenn, I think.
Vocalist Ian Gillian left Black Sabbath to rejoin Deep Purple. Uh, where the hell is it? Both wards. See, I feel like I should know this, but I'm mostly familiar with Sabbath from like 1970 to like
So the
1989,
Ozzy
or I would say like
years.
1985.
Yeah.
Ozzy and Dio, Ian Gillian. Wow, I didn't realize they had that many singers.
They have a
I,
lot of singers.
I really only knew it was like Ozzy, Dio, and Tony Martin. I didn't know that there
Yeah.
was actually like all this other stuff.
Yeah, and
Ian
every
Gillian.
album is different from the other stuff. Like the Ozzy
Well,
years are completely different from the
yeah.
Dio years
Dia,
as
oh
well.
yeah, dude. And you know what the best part about that is? Like Tony Iommi is like such a just fucking talented dude for a dude that has like two fingers that are partially shaved off from that whole accident. But like to think about like the depth of music that he's written in like fucking 50 years from the fucking 60s all the
And
way
they
up to
put
like
out what
2013
30
ish.
albums
Oh, something fucking
ish.
ridiculous. Um,
But
oh,
like that
actually,
album, the seventh star, I think is what it is.
isn't it? No, I'm thinking of like the Seventh Sin of a Seventh Son. That's an Iron Maiden
Yeah, no,
album.
that's Iron Maiden. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is I think it's seventh star. Let me look it up real
Mm.
quick on my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one is just it's such a good album. It's so different from anything. I didn't realize it was Sabbath at first. And the
Mhm.
only reason I found it was yeah, Seventh Star. The only reason I found that album
Yeah.
is they were talking on a Black Sabbath page that I'm on, and they were
Mhm.
saying that they're going to re-release that in vinyl. So I was super geeked.
Okay.
So I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" Because
Mhm.
something that you never hear is that
Right.
album, and it's so different. Yeah, it's so different from any other Sabbath album I've ever heard.
Mhm.
So, and the
So you
guy
said
that's
it.
singing,
Yeah.
sorry, the guy that's singing reminded me of a there's an old Christian band called Resurrection Band, really
Mhm.
old Christian rock stuff, and the vocals really reminded me of that singer.
Mm.
So
So like when you say bluesy, usually like my default thing when people say like bluesy in reference to metal. I typically immediately think like stoner metal. So like we're talking Corrosion of Conformity, maybe a little bit of I Hate God, Superjoint Ritual, shit like that. Even though Superjoint's not necessarily like stoner metal, Down even. Is it kind of like that, or is it a little bit more like doomy?
It's I don't know, man. You got to listen to it.
Okay.
It's just got like a bluesy feel to it. It's got
Mhm.
like it's different from anything else they've ever produced. I'm trying
Mhm.
to, other than the other guy I mentioned, Glenn Kaiser and Rusband. I can't think of what else it would be that kind of style.
Mhm.
Like mid '80s, just heavy, but it's still got that bluesy riff. His vocals are
Sure.
really raw, really rough.
Mhm.
So it's
So
kind
how
of
are
fun
you on
stuff.
Motorhead?
Can't get into them. And
Okay.
now I need to check them out again. But the last
Sure.
time I checked them out, but right now I think where I'm at phase wise of music, I think I might
Uh,
actually get into them. But like I haven't listened to them in forever.
sure. So like the only reason why I bring that up, it's kind of funny what got me into Motorhead, and it wasn't like I ever, yeah, Lemmy does rule. I saw Motorhead actually, I want to say the year before Lemmy died. He was looking pretty rough on stage, but um I listened to Jared James Nichols, who's like he doesn't use a pick when he plays guitar, and he also sings and plays. And he's like a bluesy rock artist today, and his music's so fucking good. I think he has like 2 or 3 albums out now. Really, really good stuff. I was listening to a playlist on Spotify, and Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons came up, and I had no idea who they were. And I started listening. I'm like, wow, this is really fucking good. And then my brother and I, when we were going to the anti-war protest last year, we were going down to DC, and my brother was playing this video by Razor Fist, and he was talking about like the history of Motorhead, and he mentioned, oh yeah, Phil Campbell played for Motorhead, and like I kind of knew that, but I didn't know for like how long. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, well that's really cool. So like I listened to lots of Motorhead again, and then I started listening to all the Phil Campbell and the Bastard Son stuff. If you get a chance, check out Phil Campbell and the Bastard
Yeah,
Sons.
I
It's
will.
super like bluesy and real like really good rock with like a little bit more of like a modern day vocalist, and you'll understand what I mean when you listen to it, but it's so fucking good. Their newest album just came out, I want to say maybe like a month or two ago. And the title track, or not the title track, but the first track off it, Walking in Circles, it's just like fucking right into my veins. I just want to like go throw shit and run. What else, dude? It's fucking awesome. And then I think
It
they
just
came out with like
added
an
to my
EP
playlist.
first. Oh, dude, they're so good. But like it's cool because Phil Campbell has like that loud, rock and roll fucking style of writing, and it's
Mhm.
a little bit more modern. So the guitar tones are a little bit punchier, and it doesn't have like all this ancillary, overproduced stuff in it, like a lot of the metalcore that I listen to now is. But like, if you listen to a rock song, you want to listen to a rock song. If you listen to something like heavy, beat down, you're going to listen to something more like what I've been listening to a lot lately. But like, you know, if you want to hear rock, you're going to listen to Clutch. If you want to hear, deathcore, you're going to listen to Whitechapel, right? Like,
Yeah.
it just depends on what you're looking for. But like, if you're looking for like rock stuff that's a little bit more current, Crowbot, Clutch, Crowbot's fantastic.
Where would you
But
say Chevelle fits in? What are they? What style are they? Have
I
you
would
listened to
almost
any of
say
their new stuff?
their new stuff's really good. Like
It's
it's
so good.
heavy.
Some of the
Yeah,
best
it's like
guitar
alternative
tones.
metal.
Like they have
Yeah.
amazing guitar tones.
Mhm. Well, you know what I really like about them is that they're like a three piece, and like they're in like a very unique spot, because at first I did not like them at all. But then like I heard, I want to say it was Face to the Floor or Hats Off to the Bull when I was working for my dad back in like 2012. And I'm like, I gotta give these guys another shot.
Yeah.
And I started listening to them again. I'm like, these guys are just, they're so talented. And it's, I would say they're more like the alternative metal, kind of like almost the same spot where like I would put a Common Crown, because they're heavy in the same
Yeah,
way.
I can see that.
Yeah, like they came from like that late 90s, early 2000s kind of rock scene with like
Hmm.
Crossfade and Trapped, but like they're heavy for like that kind of genre.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's really unique because they're a three piece, and it really focused on like the tightness of the band, and they're
Mm.
just like, I say they're like a really good band in terms of like how you would say, um, Alice in Chains is a really good band where they just make really good fucking music. It's not like it's incredibly technical. It's just like this is a very, very enjoyable song where
Well,
like if
it,
good.
Jerry Cantrell, man, like the
Yeah,
guy is absolutely out of this world amazing. Like
right. And you know
he
what's funny is that he's not like Rusty Cooley, right? Like if you listen to Rusty Cooley, he's one of the fastest fucking most intricate guitar players out there. Fucking Jerry Cantrell is amazing because he can write a fucking incredible song.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just, I mean, yeah. When you're going into that kind of stuff, like Alice in Chains, I love them. Some of their stuff's way too depressing, but I really, really love them. So, did you listen to that show with Pete and I can't remember the other guy's name. Um, they did a show about music around Christmas. It was really well done. Like it was a good one too. And
I
like,
gotta
listen,
listen to it now.
you
Yeah.
have to, because
Mhm.
Pete's tastes are really, he has some good stuff. He,
Yeah.
I don't think he understands it, but he turned me on to Overkill. Like Overkill is
Ah,
so good. Like
yes.
they're amazing. The stuff they're putting
Mhm.
out today is just as good as anything else out there,
Did
if
you
not
if you
better.
get a chance, you need to check out, I think it's BPMD it's called. So like Phil Demmel, Bobby Blotzer from Overkill, the drummer from Dream Theater, not Mike Mangini, the other one, Mike
Mhm.
Portnoy. And
Yeah.
then I forget their bass player's name, but basically they came together and they did a whole bunch of like classic rock covers. They did like
Ooh,
Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers,
great
Toys in
song.
the Attic, I'm trying to remember what other songs, but like the album's so good. They recorded it in 2020, but yeah, it's fucking killer.
Hmm.
And it's all Bobby Blotzer is the singer, and then Phil Demmel from Machine Head on guitar. So I mean, it's like super fucking punchy, killer tone with fucking Bobby Blotzer's vocals, which like he's like I feel like he's just like a very, very soft acquired taste. Like at first you may be like, I don't know, but then like once you get over that, you're like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, there's a store out by me that has like 3 or 4 vinyls of
Mhm.
Overkill, and I need to go buy
Yeah.
those. Like I really
Mhm.
need to go get some of those.
Yeah, so like I think I need to go back and listen to like all the late 70s and 80s thrash and death metal. So like I need to listen to all the death records because those are awesome, especially their first album. Fucking amazing. A lot of the early Overkill stuff, I'm kind of familiar with it, but not familiar enough, like Morbid Angel, some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, was it back then? Was it Death Angel was pretty big?
Yeah.
Testament has some good stuff too. They're
Oh my
fun.
God. Well, you know what's funny is that like Testament, they're one of the most interesting bands to me because like Chuck Billy is like one of the I'm into thrash metal, but like I need to know more. Like obviously, you know, I know all the big ones, but like um I should know more. But like Testament, I feel like is like the sleeper of all thrash metal because like Billy
Mhm.
Chuck is like still a he's like a truck driver to this day, but like their newer stuff is so fucking good. Their old stuff fucking killer. Like Sense of a Mission is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. And like
Yeah,
just Billy Chuck has always had that fucking bellow that just could like shake the fucking earth.
yeah, their stuff's great. I don't know like I don't know their stuff like I know other bands, but I
Sure.
do appreciate them. I do like them. I've listened to them a couple times recently again.
Mhm.
So, but my music, I mean, like I'm literally all over the board musically. Like
Yeah.
it's not just metal for me. Like
Mhm.
I can go from metal to Johnny Cash to Beastie Boys
Nah.
to I know some of the guys' favorite band on the podcast we do in the morning is U2. So listen to I really like
Let me
U2.
read
They give
this.
me crap for liking
Yeah.
U2.
Steve usually has good taste in music. Disregard his U2 opinions already. Solid. Well, you know what's funny is that I actually really like some country. So like Cody Jinks, I think is really good. And people will probably knock me for this, but like Brad Paisley is fucking amazing. Like people don't understand how good that dude is on guitar. Like they literally call him like the Eddie Van Halen of country.
Got to be like old country. It's got to be
Mm,
Hank Williams Sr. or
sure.
Cash or I stuff like that is the stuff. Merle Haggard, like that's the kind of
Mm,
stuff that I enjoy. The
yeah.
what was the band those guys did together? I can't think of the name of it. Highwaymen. They were great.
Uh,
You gotta
I'll have
check
to
out
check
some of
that
their
out.
stuff. There was so much fun. Like, there's a couple live shows of them that are really, really, really good. But like newer country, I just can't do.
The hick hop
Like,
stuff, I people who know me personally know that I would how do I put this kindly without getting banned off YouTube? Let's just say if the world was rid of Upchurch and his ilk, the world I think would be a lot better of a place. Like I cannot stand that
have
shit.
you have
I
you listened to
hate it.
is it Colton can't think of his last name. He does a song called Kate McKinnon, and it's phenomenal.
I'll have to look it up. I some people might consider Aaron Lewis a little bit like a the shittier new
Colton
country,
Wall.
but okay. Colton Wall?
Yeah, he's got two amazing songs, Kate McKinnon and The Devil Wears a Suit and Tie.
Okay, I'll have to
The,
look
the
that up.
Devil Wears a
Wrote it
Suit and
down.
Tie is probably the most libertarian song I've ever listened to.
Hell yeah. Um, did you ever listen to Rebel Meets Rebel?
No,
Oh no way. So are you a fan of David Allen Coe?
I don't know.
David Allen
What band?
Coe.
What band?
No, like the David Allen Coe, like
I
the
know, but
country
what
singer.
band? Oh no, I don't know.
Uh,
No,
okay.
no, I
Well,
don't
okay.
I don't know country music hardly at all. Although I do have a great
Mm.
story for you about country music. When I was living in Nashville,
Oh yeah,
I
okay.
was photographing. Did I tell you this one before?
No, I don't think.
Okay, I got hired to photograph for there was a studio called Curb Records was selling to another or
Mhm.
some studio. It was a studio, and they were selling it to I think Curb Records. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I just got hired to go in and photograph a party that they were doing, and so I'm sitting there talking to the one guy who this guy recorded like all the original recordings for country stuff. So all the singer songwriters would go into his place, record, and then
Sure.
they would sell it to the studios. Well, he stops me. I'm photographing. He stops me and he's like, "Hey, I want you to meet somebody." He introduces me, and I was like, and he goes, "You ever heard that song, Friends in Low Places?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't like it. I don't listen to country at all. I'm not a big fan of it." And he goes, "Well, he wrote it." And I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, it was probably I never got hired to go back into that studio to shoot anything. So
Oops.
so that's my country music story. I lived in Nashville for
Mm.
2 years, and I was trying to break into the Christian music industry to shoot.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, never didn't materialize. But
Nah, man. Yeah, that kind of sucks. That kind of pays off to bite your tongue every here and there. And look, I
I learned that
completely
lesson the
guilty.
hard way. I learned that lesson the hard way.
Completely guilty. I have a problem shutting the fuck up too. So I completely get it.
Yep.
The point about David Alco is he actually did he did an album with the guys from Pantera in the 90s where
Oh,
it was he sang on all of it, but it was like, Dime, Vinny, and Rex wrote the rest of the music. It was really, really interesting.
okay.
So yeah, if you get a chance to check it out,
I know
Rebel
you're a
Meets
big
Rebel.
Pantera fan. I am
Oh, yes.
not. I am not. I like they're good. I know that they're good. I know they're talented.
Yeah.
I just not a fan. It's like I don't understand Metallica either. Like,
Yeah, well, like for me, Pantera was like no band has ever come close in my mind to just the raw fucking intensity that Pantera had. Like if you watch the live videos and even like Far Beyond Driven, there's no way you can't listen to that record front to back and just don't envision yourself or feeling some fucking headbutting through a brick wall. Like that is the way that album is to me. Like and
yeah,
feeling no pain either. So like it's just the raw fucking intensity. It's kind of like the same energy that some like the early 80s thrash metal had, but just Pantera had like this fucking gut punch, heavy shit back in the 90s. And like in the 90s, Metallica sold out, quote unquote, even though I like a lot of stuff from the 90s from Metallica. But like to write one of the heaviest albums ever in 1994, Far Beyond Driven, and then
mhm.
top the charts, number one in 1994, writing a fucking record like Far Beyond Driven, it's mind boggling to me. So that's why, like, every bit of hype Pantera gets, they deserve, they fucking earned it.
They're great. They
Yeah.
phenomenal band. I just
Mhm.
it's one of those bands. It's like I've listened to. I've tried to like them.
Yeah.
I just can't. well, Metallica too. Like I, and this is very unpopular opinion. The only album by Metallica I like and will listen to on a regular basis is going to be Injustice for All.
No, I love that
I
album. That's probably one of my
I
favorites by
think that
them.
album is probably their best written album ever.
Sure.
I think it has the most. It just has the most feeling in it, if you will. But like
Mm.
the recording on it's wretched. Absolutely the worst recording that they've ever done too. So
Yeah, I remember listening to someone updated And Justice for All, and I think they did Blackened, and they put bass into it, and I was like, "Holy fuck, this is like a world's difference." But yeah, I would
yeah,
agree with like the songwriting and everything. Like, I absolutely love all the songs on that album,
yeah. And
and
then
it's
I don't
cool.
know
But
what happened
yeah,
to them after that. Like they
mm,
completely died after that. I don't know.
mm.
Like music.
Yeah, I mean, I understand and can respect the criticisms of Metallica in the 90s, but like me as a big blues guy too, I loved Load and Reload. People are gonna fucking knock me for that, but like Load, I think just had some really, really cool riffs. And like
Was
James
it Death
Hetfield, I think has a
Magnetic?
good voice. That
James
was
Hetfield has a great
2000.
voice.
Yeah. Death Magnetic, I want to say was 2007 that it
I
came
thought
out.
that was kind of a throwback to Injustice for All musically. It felt like it kind of
I
felt
could
like that.
kind of see that. Yeah, I could kind of see that. You know what? The more I think about it, the more I actually think that's right. So, like, I think, I don't know how familiar you are with Machine Head, but like to make this
No.
comparison, okay, well, if you listen to Bloodstone and Diamonds, which is the 2014 record from Machine Head, um, Rob Flynn, their singer, who took like classical music lessons, and you heard a lot of that influence on their 2012 record. I think that was called Under 2011 to 2012, Under the Locust, and then The Blackening, which is like one of the best albums ever fucking written, 2006 or seven from Machine Head. If you listen to Bloodstone and Diamonds, you can hear a lot of both Under the Locust and The Blackening in Bloodstone and Diamonds.
For sure.
Now the reason why I say that is like when you listen to Death Magnetic with the long songs and the songwriting, you can hear a lot of the influence of the Black Album, Load and Reload, into Death Magnetic, but hear the like the length of the songs and the songwriting from And Justice for All, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you can
What
hear the
album?
progression of the band.
What album are you
For
saying from them? From Machine
Machine
Head?
Head, oh, The Blackening.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Okay, 2007.
Yeah, it
Cool.
had 7 or 8 tracks on it, but like
I'm
if
gonna
you
add that
listen,
to my list right now.
oh, they're so fucking good. You will
Cool.
understand why I recommended that album because
Yeah.
like I remember seeing, I want to say it was a Metal Sucks article, and you know Metal Sucks doesn't like anything. Um they had named that album like the best album of the decade. It was like
Mm,
between that and I want to say Mastodon's 2004 Leviathan. Like I think those were like their top two, and both those albums are fucking solid.
okay. Are you into POD at all? Were you in any of their stuff?
Yeah, I like POD.
They're I their first couple albums are ish. Like
Mhm.
their first album is super punky. It's really raw, like very
Yeah.
very punk.
Was that the one with Southtown?
No, no, no. That was like the third or fourth album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. They had well, and they're another band that started out of that Christian, like the mid '90s Christian
Oh.
scene.
Hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of their stuff's really, a lot of their deeper tracks are still very, very, very solid Christian stuff.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, no, that's fascinating.
um,
I actually didn't know that.
yeah, they're really good, man. I'm a huge fan of them. I've seen them probably 5 to 7 times. I can't
Seen
remember.
them once. I
Oh,
saw them at
they're so
Rock on the
good.
Range. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you know
really?
what? I'm pretty
How long ago was
familiar.
that?
That was 2012. I want to say
Okay,
2012
so
or
that would have
2011.
been around their Testify album.
Yeah, well, those I'm pretty familiar with the album that came out in 2010 or 12, and then the one that came out after that. It had Lost and Forever on it. I'm
Oh, that's a great song. That's one of
Yes.
those albums that I was not like into at
Mhm.
first, and
Yeah.
then probably about 5 years after that came out, I started listening to it and just fell in love with that album. It's got some
Mhm.
really amazing guitar stuff on it. You got to go back and
Yeah.
listen to like their album "Testify" is just amazing. Um, that's probably that has some of some pretty big hits on that one. And funny enough, Katy Perry sings backups on like 2 songs on that album.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's fascinating.
yeah. They were in the studio. I think she was in the studio doing some stuff, and they went and
Yeah.
grabbed her. I was like, "Hey, sing!" They knew her. I don't really know the whole story. Sonny talks about it a couple times
Mhm.
in some interviews, but yeah, she
Oh, you
sings
okay.
backups on a couple songs. So
It just reminded me, I was talking about For Today earlier. They actually
yeah,
did a song with Sonny Sandoval. It was Only One Name, I think, and that song is really, really good.
yeah.
Um, and then he also did a song with El Nino in 2020 or 21. Oh my god, that's gonna bug me. Let me see. All or Nothing by El Nino. If you
I'll have to
look
look that
that
one
up,
up.
yeah, oh, it's so good. I'm kind of sad because, like, I'm sure you know. Are you familiar with El Nino?
No,
Oh, really? I think you'd
yeah,
really like them. They're kind of like that new metal. If I had to put it like they're almost like a heavier version of POD. So I think you'd really like them. They're very, very percussive. They have like 2 drummers. They do a lot of very, very new metal. Like specifically their
yeah.
first album, super fucking heavy,
I'll check
really,
them
really
out.
good. Yeah, and they actually had the longtime guitar player from Soulfly for their first 2 albums. I think it was Mark Rizzo. But yeah, their first, really all their stuff's really good. But like their later stuff went a little bit more metalcore. But like their first 2 albums were definitely like that 90s metalcore of like, the sweatpants and the dreadlocks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That same look. Yeah. So going back to POD, their first album was
Mhm.
'94.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Snuff the Punk. Then they had Brown. Then a bunch of
Yeah.
other stuff. But yeah, Testify is good. The one you were talking about, the Murder Love album, came out in
Yes.
13. That
Right.
the song Murder Love is about Jesus on the cross. Like that's the song. If you listen to the
Uh,
song, it's pretty really, really good. But they re-released an album when Angels and Serpents Collide, I think, or when
mhm.
Angels and Serpents Dance. The album came out, and they had one of the songs was off of whatever movie, Matrix movie. It was the second Matrix movie, I think.
I feel
One
like I
of the
know the song
was
you're
from
talking about, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
yeah, I just put it away. So,
Uh,
but yeah, they were. I've always loved those guys. They were always super
mhm.
solid band. My wife and I saw them in New York when we were in New York working.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's where she lost like 80% of her hearing overnight. Like literally, she lost.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, she lost her hearing. We went. The opening band was Flyleaf with a new singer,
Mm. Uh,
and we were standing on the main floor, kind of close, too close to the speakers. And I've done that 1,000 times, and I can tell the
yeah.
difference now. But yeah, she had her ears rang for like a week,
Oh, wow.
and she has hearing aids now because of that concert.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so wear your hearing
Jeez.
protections.
Mhm. Jeez.
So
Yeah, I mean, like, last year, my wife and I went to a bunch of concerts. For perspective, my wife's favorite, like, musical group is Kelly Clarkson, right? So,
yeah,
she
so
saw
we're dealing with the
Metallica
same. We're dealing with the same. Not that bad, but yes, it is very much that.
uh, well, like,
So,
one way that I knew I picked right, and I think I might have told this story on the podcast before, but if not, it's worth telling. Tara had announced that they were, kinda doing this whole tour. So, how are we all married to the same one? My connection, kinda took a shit there for a
is that your
second.
connection or mine? I
Yeah, I
can't
think that was
tell.
mine.
Okay, I was
Um
about to text you and ask if that was me or you.
Yeah, no, no, I see the little bars going up in the corner of the screen. How are we all
Okay.
married to the same woman? Okay, so
Yes.
Pantera announced their tour, and I was like, oh, well, we got to go see them. And the closest place they're coming to, I thought was New Jersey, but it was actually like Detroit. So I'm like, all right, well, let's book the hotel and everything and let's go. So, like, a couple weeks later, they said, oh, well, we're going to continue like the tour without Metallica. So, like, the show that we went and saw in New Jersey was Metallica. It was they did 2 nights out in New Jersey. So like Friday it was Mammoth Van Halen, which is really good too. That's more just like normie rock almost, but still enjoyable.
Mhm.
Mammoth Van Halen, Pantera, Metallica Friday night, and then Sunday night was Ice Nine Kills, Five Finger Death Punch, Metallica. Which really good lineup. Like I know a lot of people throw Sons of Five Finger Death Punch. I like them. But so they announced that tour, and then like literally a week later, they're like, "Oh yeah, well, we're gonna come to Pittsburgh, and it's gonna be, a Housecore Records, which is Phil Anselmo's like record company, a Housecore Records band opening, and then it's gonna be Lamb of God, and then Pantera." So they announced that tour second. We already paid for everything for Pantera out in New Jersey, so it was like, "Oh well, we'll just cancel everything out in New Jersey, and we'll just go to the Pantera show in Pittsburgh," because like I could live without seeing Metallica again, but I have to see Pantera. So I told my wife that, and she texted back and says, "Well, why don't we just go to both?" I was like, "Okay, we will go to both."
That's awesome.
so, yeah, we saw Snafu, which was the housecore band, and they were good. I haven't really listened to them outside of just seeing them live. Um, and then like Lamb of God went up, and she was like, "I like the music, but I can't understand what he's saying." I'm like, I can, but fair enough. And then Pantera went up, and she was like, "I actually kind of enjoyed that." And I'll throw it back to you after this. But like, we were walking out Friday night after seeing Metallica and Pantera, and I was like, "All right, between the two, who do you like more?" And like, this was like the guillotine is swinging above her head moment, and she said, "Well, Pantera." I'm like, "We're good."
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I wouldn't mind seeing them live. That'd be kind of fun. But
Yeah.
yeah. My wife actually likes POD. She likes Demon Hunter.
Mhm.
She likes Demon Hunter's more mellower stuff, not their
Yeah.
super screamy stuff.
Yeah.
Like their first album, she doesn't like. like,
Their
um,
mellow stuff is so good though. Like specifically,
oh,
I my wife said it was too sad, but when we were getting married, I was gonna have Carry Me Down the piano version, but she was like, "No, that's way too sad." I was like, "Okay, fair enough."
have you listened to the acoustic album?
Yes,
The
very, very good.
oh my
2022, I think that
gosh,
came out.
that is
Yeah,
that is probably their best thing they've ever put out. Like that is
yeah.
just so magical.
Hmm.
And then if you
Yeah, go
watch the live version, the one on YouTube where they did
ahead.
they recorded it all live.
Oh no, I didn't watch that.
Oh, you need to watch that. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Huh. Yeah,
So,
all their piano stuff and like acoustic stuff is so freaking good. Like
mhm.
their Ryan Clark is the singer's name, I
Yep,
think,
yeah,
and
yeah. Have
just
you listened to his
insanely
other stuff?
talented individual. What other stuff?
He has a band called they just put out one album. It's called Knives, but it's spelled really funky.
Okay,
Um,
so I'll have to
and
look that
it's
up.
and then he has another album where he does like all it's kind of like 80s popish kind of stuff.
Oh, interesting.
I'm trying to think of one of the songs he covers is not Blue Monday, the other one by those guys. Yeah, he covers some like Depeche Mode kind of stuff and some other stuff
Uh,
on this. He has a couple. He has like two other projects he did,
mm,
which I wish he would do more with those.
nah.
I don't remember the name of the other one, but Knives is pretty amazing. It's weird. It's kind of mellow, kind of funky.
Yeah,
You ever listen to Death Therapy?
no.
Oh, they're pretty good. They're kind of techno-y almost.
Okay.
It's like
You know what's funny is how familiar are you with Dillinger Escape Plan?
not at all.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
their singer's name is Greg Puciato, right? Well, he did a band with Max Cavalera from Sepultura and Soulfly, Troy from Mastodon, and then I forget their drummer's name, but like that album, Killer Be Killed in 2014, fucking incredible. And then that's
Mhm.
kind of what got me into like Dillinger Escape Plan and Mastodon. And Greg Puciato, if you listen to Dillinger Escape Plan and then listen to Killer Be Killed, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like how did this come together? And then if you listen to The Black Queen, which is like techno music with Greg Puciato singing, it's so fucking good. But it's almost like 80s 80s pop, like 80s techno kind of stuff. So fucking good though. Like
I
I
love
absolutely
80s.
love that.
The 80s like techno-y poppy stuff is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
ever listen to like KMFDM?
No, so like this stuff I'm completely unfamiliar with, but like I would be so into listening to more of it.
Check out KMFDM. Um,
K K
KMFDM.
M.
It stands for Kill Motherfucking Depeche Mode.
Okay.
At least that's the lore. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's like um, their 80s, 90s
Mhm,
stuff. Really just poppy, kind of really techno-y.
mhm,
Um, they did a lot of covers too, but some
mhm,
good stuff. Um, and if we're going back that far, like Sisters of Mercy stuff, like early Sisters of
mhm,
Mercy is amazing. Cure, so good.
mhm.
Like the Cure was probably one of the best of that style bands um, that I've ever seen or listened to. They were amazing.
Sure.
So I wish
80s
I could have
pop.
seen them on this last tour.
Mhm. 80s pop is solid. Love some yacht rock. You know what? The what the hell is it? Jimmy Buffett? I can't. I
I can't
can't.
do that. I can't do
The
that at
yacht
all. When he
rock.
was dead, I was like, "Who is that?" When he's talking about he died, I'm like, "Yeah, who cares?" Sorry,
Well, yeah,
man.
you know what's funny is my band I played like a stoner metal, like a stoner death metal kind of band called Wretched Hive, and what the hell was the one dude's name? Not oh god, it's gonna bug the fuck out of me. Um, oh my god, he was a I want to say like a pop music star. Not Johnny Cash, Eddie Money or something like that.
Eddie
Eddie,
Money?
was it Eddie Money?
I don't know.
Eddie.
He did Two Tickets to Paradise.
Yes, Eddie Money. He was actually in Katanning, Pennsylvania, which is where this bar was that we were playing. And I remember people like in our group chat, they were like making Eddie Money references. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he died a couple of years ago. I'm like, oh, I had like no idea who it was.
Eddie Money, funny enough, he used to there's a venue here in Detroit area called Pine Knob, and I've seen
Uh-huh.
hundreds of acts there, like really good
Yeah.
acts. And he would open up every year. He would open up there in the
Mm.
spring. It was always Eddie Money was always the first one out there opening up.
Uh-huh.
So I think I went and saw him once. I don't remember too much of the show. Tells you
Mm.
what I was doing back then. But I remember going there and I remember waking up the next day, but that was about it. But I've seen a lot of good bands there, a lot of good
Mm.
acts. I saw Beck there. Beck was fun live.
Mhm.
I saw Midnight Oil. They're phenomenal. Hate
Mhm.
hate their politics. Musically, I think they're amazing. Um, One of their best songs is "Redneck Wonderland." If you ever get a chance to
Mm.
listen to that one, it's really good.
Redneck Wonderland. Okay.
Yeah, the video
Yeah.
is interesting because the video is like this new dude running around Australia. I mean, like totally naked,
Mm.
like swinging and everything. Like I was like, holy crap! It's like,
Jesus Christ.
yeah,
Well, like Zach Wild and Black Label Society, I've always liked their music videos because like their music's like I don't want to say super serious, but pretty serious. And like you
yeah.
watch their videos and it's always something goofy. So like they did a cover of Ain't No Sunshine. And
Ooh,
the whole
I'll have to
music
check
video is
that
pretty
out.
much just the whole music video is just them like running around with horse masks on. It's super funny, but like the cover's solid. Like you wouldn't obviously if you listen to the music and then you listen to or you watch the music video, you'd be like, what the fuck? And then they had a, song, I think Room and Nightmares or something like that. It was like some kids dance party or something like that. It was real goofy stuff, but like Zach Wild just has like this really all his videos and even like his stories on Facebook or Instagram are all like just goofy stuff, but they're like the
What
music's
was
super solid.
Zach Wild? Was his first? Was he Ozzy first? Was he in? Was that his first big thing? Or
There was I think he did a band before Ozzy, but it wasn't anywhere near as big as Ozzy, obviously. So
yeah.
yeah, it was like Ozzy in the 90s, well, late 80s into the 90s, and then he did Black Label Society. And I feel like I'm missing one that he did. Um he did his solo stuff as well. Oh, Pride and Glory before Black Label Society. So like Pride and Glory was more like country rock ish, kind of 1997, I want to say. And then his solo stuff, I think that was like 1990 was where he did his solo album Book of Shadows, which is really good. Um, Yeah, and then Black Label Society was 1998, obviously till current day. And then obviously now he's doing the live touring with Pantera. But yeah, like he did a bunch of
Oh,
albums with
he's touring. Is
Ozzy.
that who they got to play with him?
Yeah,
How
so
is he? How is he live? How is the sound compared to
excellent. Excellent.
Pantera?
So like you can't what is up, Nuke? Good to see you, brother. You can't Dime was Dime, right? Like there's
Yeah.
nobody
Well,
that
I'm
can
just curious how you can even how you can even
n-
like get
yeah,
that
there's
same
nobody.
sound.
Yeah, there's nobody that could replace Dime, right? But like the live show was still good, and like Zach nailed a lot of like Dime's riffing, but like Zach is a very very heavy handed guitar player. So like if
Well,
you
very
watch him
different
playing,
styles, like night and day
exactly, you were
difference. Yeah.
exactly. So like if you watch the way Zach plays, he beats the fuck out of the guitar, and like his very very heavy handed. You can even hear it in the way that he picks and the way that he writes. But like Dime, if you listen to Far Beyond Driven in particular, you hear like the legato playing where it's just like super smooth. But they did it good enough. Like it's
Okay.
still enjoyable. I still really liked it, and anybody that's a fan of Pantera will tell you that. Like, hey, everybody knew it was Z and D, right? Like Zach and Dime were very very good friends. So like, if anybody was gonna do it, it had to be Zach. Like, there's
Okay.
nobody else even in that world
So
that
it
could
fit.
have did that.
It fit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the tone was really good too because Zach has a real punchy tone. But obviously he used like tube amps, and then Dime used all solid state, which not a lot of people would really think about. Like the solid state amps didn't have the same punch as like a tube amp would.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
that was the thing that was so unique about Dime, is that like using solid state amps and Dean guitars, which Dean and Washburn, which Dean was mostly kind of like the shitty stuff that nobody really cared about. Um, it's just funny that like, Randall, solid state, Dean, all this stuff that everybody's like, you would never get a good tone out of that. Dime just crushed it with that. So like Zach's, solid or tube amp, Marshall, active pickups, it's like complete opposite, but it still works
Yeah.
for Pantera. And then their drummer is Charlie Benanti from Anthrax. And the reason why they did that is
Ooh.
because like they always considered Dime to be the sixth member of Anthrax, because he also like helped write some Anthrax songs. Like the album Stomp 442, he played on a couple tracks and helped write some of the songs, and he also I think sang in a couple Anthrax tracks as well. So
Really?
Vinnie Paul really wasn't like the sociable person in Anthrax. He was more of just like, the business end. So they kind of said, hey, Charlie's the guy because he played for Anthrax for a long time, so we got him to be a drummer. When I heard that, I'm like, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And then I started watching the video. I was like, no, he did good. Like he did very very well being a thrash drummer, going to be like this power groove kind of metal. So yeah.
I dig some of Anthrax stuff. Like they're hit and miss. Like some of their
Mhm.
stuff's phenomenal. Like, and this is where I'm gonna get probably beat up, but like the song, like their song "Indians," I think is the
Mhm.
worst song they ever wrote. Like it's an awful song.
Okay.
I don't
No, I
understand why
I
it's
think
their
that's
most
fair.
popular song. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just not a
Mhm.
huge fan of that song. But like some of their other stuff is
Mhm.
amazing, and they did that first crossover stuff with the rap core kind of. They were doing that
Yeah.
stuff. That was fun. Um, but yeah, the one of those bands like that. I don't. If you put them on, I'm not going to complain,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to seek out their stuff.
Sure.
So I don't I've never understood why they got so popular.
Yeah, I think they were just kind of like their first couple albums, Madhouse, Indians. Um, I think their first album was Fistful of Metal back in 1982. Obviously, Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth were kind of like as we know them today, the big four of thrash
Yeah,
metal. So Anthrax is kind of like they were the smallest one of the big four, and then Slayer had like a cult following, and then obviously Dave Mustaine being part of Metallica, and then forming Megadeth was kind of like a big sequitur in that, and then Metallica is the biggest band on the face of the planet right now. So
yeah.
obviously they're like the number one.
What do you think of Megadeth stuff?
You know what? I've never been a fan of Dave Mustaine's vocals, but it fits Megadeth.
Yeah,
Um, and they've always had like fucking incredible musicians. I mean, Marty Friedman, Chris Poland, Chris Broderick, um, Kiko Luriero. I think I'm missing a guitar player too, but like all the dudes who played guitar for Megadeth, even Dave Mustaine, fucking incredible. But like, oh, drummers too, Nick Menza, Dirk Verburen, who's playing for them now. I can't remember some of the other people. James Lomenzo played bass, even though he plays for Black Label Society right now. He played bass for them. I
I
can't
want to go
remember who
see
the
them. Like that's one band I
yeah.
really want to see live.
I've seen them 4 or 5 times. I don't want to disappoint you, but not amazing live.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth seeing just because it's like this is like if you're into music and heavy music in particular, it's like history to
Part
see
of the reason
Megadeth.
I didn't go see them the last couple times they had Lamb
Mm,
of God play with them, and I can't stand Lamb of God, so
really,
just can't.
uh,
Don't like
love
them.
Lamb of God.
Can't
Okay,
listen to
yeah,
them.
I get it. If
Like
you're not into like, mm,
there's certain bands I just don't want to like.
mm,
I have no interest in sitting through
sure,
one of their sets and listening to them. But like, I think the Dystopia
mm.
album is probably one of their best. And I like Super
2016, right?
yeah, I like Super
Yeah.
Collider too, which is probably their least
Ah,
favorite. I
yeah,
love the
that
album.
was like
It's a
heresy.
really, really good album. Like it's a
Ah,
fun album. So
yeah. I really liked 2009 Endgame, Head Crusher, The Way the Story Ends. That was their first album with Chris Broderick. I thought that was a solid album front to back. Really liked that album.
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, and their early stuff is their first album is amazing.
yeah.
Great album. Um, you can really hear. I think in the first one, you can hear a lot of the early influences of
Mhm.
like because didn't he write a lot of the early Metallica stuff? Wasn't he the
Yeah,
guy
so
who
like the
wrote most of it?
first
So
yeah, Kill 'Em All and
yeah, you can kind of hear
obviously
that in there too. That's fun. Um, which I Kill 'Em All is probably my well, I wouldn't say my least favorite album by them, but
mhm.
I like Ride the Lightning better than Kill 'Em All.
Yeah, it's fair. I think the
So
songwriting in Ride the Lightning was better. If you're looking for a little bit more just kind of raw energy, that's more Kill 'Em All. But I
yeah,
think their songwriting greatly leveled up from Kill 'Em All to Ride the
mhm,
Lightning.
yeah,
Um, I think that's the way it's with a lot of bands. Um, Pantera's always stood out to me in that regards because like every single album was different, but different in like, so you think obviously they had like the first four hair metal albums back before 1990, and then 1990 was Cowboys from Hell. Well, that still had like a little bit of glam influence, but it had some heavier stuff. And like the last track that they recorded was Primal Concrete Sledge, and that song was pretty fucking heavy. And then obviously Domination as well, which had like the OG breakdown back in 1990. And then you go to Vulgar Display of Power, which had, Mouth for War, New Level, and then Far Beyond Driven was just over the top. And then
mhm,
Great Southern Trendkill in 1996 was just like, holy shit, just raw aggression. And then Reinventing the Steel was the last album that Pantera put out. And just fucking same deal, just loud, aggressive. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, they're good. Have you ever listened? Have you ever heard a band called Me Without You?
No.
Their first two albums are phenomenal. A B Life and
Mhm.
Catch for Us the Foxes. It's
Yeah.
I don't even know how to classify it. It's
Mhm.
I don't. There's probably a classification for their first two albums. After that, I think they like took some weird turn and just got really odd. Um,
Mhm.
but their first two albums are really, really, really good. Kind of like that punk, but the guy
Sure.
he's like almost reading poetry instead of singing.
Uh-huh.
I don't even know how to explain it, but it's really good. So
Mhm.
check them out sometime. Their first two albums. So
Mhm. Nice.
I think Catch for Us the Foxes is a better album.
Mm. Yeah, I'll have to check them out then.
Yeah,
All right, man. Well, we've been shooting the shit for about an hour and 10,
cool.
just purely about music, dude. I fucking love it. We'll have to do this again sometime, man. I really
Yeah, this
enjoyed
is
it. Maybe
fun.
get a few other
We got to
acts.
get Jay on
Yeah.
next time too.
Okay, yeah, dude. I'd totally be down
Bring
for that.
Jay
He
up
was in the
there.
chat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's awesome. So, but yeah,
Nice.
he likes a lot of the same kind of style that we were talking
Mhm.
about. But we should actually, what we should do is go listen to the albums that we recommended for each other, and then come back and talk about those.
Okay, so yeah, I got Highwaymen, Colton Will, POD Testify, Ryan Clark Knives, um, KM, FDM, and then what
Yeah,
that was Sister's Mercy. Those are all the
yeah.
ones that I got.
Ooh, Sisters of Mercy are fun, man. I mean,
Yeah,
they're like really depressing, and the guy sounds
sure.
like he has like super deep, heavy voice, but
Hmm.
kind of slow stuff,
Hmm.
different. But they do a Stone song. They do "Give Me Shelter," which is kind of fun.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, then I will try to get all this shit in within the next week. I got a whole, I got to catch up on foreign policy stuff. And then I'm probably going to do some solo podcasts. I'll probably do that on like
Yeah, let me
Taiwan
know when. I'll be
politics.
around.
And then, yeah, maybe in a, I do these every other week because my wife works and I try
Yeah,
not to do too many podcasts when her and I can spend time together because our schedules are all fucked up. So,
send me a text with your best like some of the albums we talked about. Send me. I got two of them, but send me some other
mhm.
ones, and I'll download those and listen to them.
Yeah, Jesus
So
Christ.
I'll
I
check
know
them
we
out.
threw a lot out there.
I know,
So,
like I got the two, but
uh,
and I can find them if I go back and look, but I don't remember.
yeah, dude, I
But
got you. Go ahead, give your plugs, brother, and we'll get on out of here.
oh, Fox and Sons coffee and morning after podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but it's always a crapshoot who's on when. So
Mhm. Nice, man. All right. Well, everybody make sure you go to foxsons.com, get the world's best coffee. I absolutely love their stuff. I literally drank a whole thing while we were sitting here in my Jocko Willink mug. Yeah, Steve, until next time, man, we'll
yeah,
listen to some heavy metal and we'll definitely shoot the shit again. All right.
cool. Have a good one, man. Thanks.
Cool.